Good morning, I'm meteorologist Cheetah Craft. It's your Friday and your full check of the tropics outlook here. This morning, just after 4 a.m., the National Hurricane Center did find a closed low circulation. We do have tropical depression number 9. This is going to continue to remain in the Caribbean for much of the weekend. So right now, maximum sustained winds at 35 miles per hour, moving in a west-northwest direction around 13 miles per hour. This track has stayed really steady over the past several days, even across portions of the Caribbean. Notice, though, the timeline expected to become a tropical storm by the afternoon. It would take on the name Hermine. So tropical storm Hermine through much of the weekend, right through the Caribbean as it moves in a westerly direction. And then what's interesting, by Sunday and especially into Monday, it's expected to take a hard north turn. Couple reasons why. Big area of high pressure in the Atlantic and a cold front on the way. And that's going to be impacting much of southeast Texas by Monday and into Tuesday. And both of these are going to help like upper level steering currents to help keep Tropical Depression 9, or what will become Hermine, to the east and staying in the eastern Gulf of Mexico. Notice as once it moves towards the Cayman Islands and then portions of western Cuba, it is expected to intensify to a Category 2 hurricane before then making landfall again right along the western coast there of Florida. Now the timeline for this is looking anywhere from late Tuesday evening into early Wednesday morning and making landfall as a Category 2 hurricane. So everyone across the Caribbean and even into South and Central Florida is going to be monitoring this extremely closely right through the upcoming weekend. So we will be monitoring for that for early to midweek of next week in South Florida. The big overall pattern, high pressure has been in place all week. It is finally through the weekend going to start to back off west. What that will allow to happen is a cold front to sneak on through here Monday and maybe exiting the area by Tuesday. And because of that, much of the heat is going to shift off to the west, and we're finally going to get a little bit of a break in the humidity. What that's also going to do is help to deflect what is expected to become Tropical Storm Hermine and then Hurricane Hermine, and that's what's going to continue to keep most of that moisture, most of that energy to our east, and that's going to continue to push that more towards Florida. Also, thanks to this big area of high pressure, you get clockwise rotation around high pressure. That's also going to help as an upper level steering current. So both of these are coming together to help keep all of this energy to our east. So again, we're expecting that to remain to the east as that big ridge of high pressure backs off to the west. That's going to allow a little bit of a drop in our temperatures. Let me show you all of this moisture here. Again, working through the Caribbean, moving across portions of western Cuba, but notice what an extreme sharp difference as we get into early next week. So this is Tuesday at lunchtime, between the dry north wind that's going to be in place across western portions of the Gulf of Mexico, and then all of that moisture tugging in to the eastern portion of the Gulf of Mexico, towards Cuba, towards the Caribbean, and right towards South and Central Florida. So this is where we are expecting not only the development, but the potential of a Category 2 hurricane right through Central and South Florida. Here locally, we really dry things out, so that blue indicating a dry air mass in place and our north winds in place. So this is what we're expecting by early next week. That's going to continue to give much of Texas and especially southeast Texas gorgeous days, a stretch of gorgeous days almost every day next week. On to Hurricane Fiona. So earlier, before it moved across Bermuda overnight, it was a Category 4. Because of that land interaction, here's Bermuda, it is now a Category 3. It is racing to the northeast at 25 miles per hour. So it is moving rapidly. You see that eye wall, and it's going to stay as a major hurricane even over about the next 12 to 14 hours, even at this speed, before it actually makes landfall yet again towards Nova Scotia, and potentially breaking records for how intense Fiona is to be making landfall this far north. Now, and because of the strength, high tides are expected all along the East Coast region here throughout the day today and into early tomorrow. So watch the timeline late Friday into Saturday. Again, continues to head northeast bound on that same path, and because of that, it could make landfall as early as tomorrow morning. So between tomorrow morning and midday on Saturday, that's where we're expecting the next landfall from Category 3 Hurricane Fiona. Maximum sustained winds at 125 miles per hour, and it's not set to slow down a bit there. As far as any additional waves across the Atlantic, so we are talking about the potential of Hermine, and that's what's in the Caribbean, and then Fiona. Gaston is still tropical storm, it's going to remain in the open Atlantic. So these are the next two waves that we will be monitoring for any potential development. One with a 30% chance of development. The one just off the coast of Africa, north of the Cape Verde Islands, there has a 70% chance. And that one could take on the name Ian. So this one just off the coast of Africa may even become Ian potentially this upcoming weekend. So we may have Hermine and Ian on our hands through Saturday and Sunday. If you haven't seen a list of our 2022 names, here you go. So from Gaston to Hermine, Ian, and Julia are the next names on the list. Otherwise, the big story that happened overnight is how Tropical Depression number 9 developed. I'll bring you back and I'll show you this, that the latest track, again, still is expected to stay to the west in the Caribbean through the upcoming weekend. But it is expected to intensify this afternoon to Tropical Storm Hermine. And then once it moves across portions of the Caymans and then western Cuba, we'll have to see if any land interaction does change the development. But at this point, this is the official track from the National Hurricane Center. It is expected to make landfall across portions of central to South Florida along the western coast there by late Tuesday night into early Wednesday morning. Of course, you could always visit khou.com for the latest, and we will continue to provide you updates right here.